What's up, everybody? This is Sean Ferrer, the Culturally Woke Republican. On this episode of the Culturally Woke Republican, Biden's poll numbers are basically in the toilet, completely and utterly. The CDC issues that monkeypox is actually a national epidemic at this point. I'll explain more on that one. And the New York Times tries to put an editorial on how the left wants to design the war in Ukraine. All this and more today on the Culturally Woke Republican. All right, everybody. This is going to be an interesting episode, and I'm trying to do my best not to be suspended by YouTube again. I will do my best. As we all know, anybody that knows me in person or watches this podcast, it's going to be rough. Anyway, first off, Biden's poll numbers. Okay, if anybody has been paying attention to any polls of the president in recent months, okay, I don't know if you know what the percentage is. Biden's poll number, his Gallup poll number, is down at 32%. That is literally the lowest poll numbers ever in their 75-year history of doing presidential polls. Now, why is this? Okay, could it be inflation? Possible. Could it be the almost $2 trillion that he dumped into the economy, even though we were actually about to literally snap back and it was never going to be an issue? Let's see. Could it be that he pulled out of Afghanistan and left like billions of dollars of materials and just gave it to the Taliban? Which, quite recently, he is trying to take credit for a Taliban, one of the FBI's most wanted terrorists in the world. He was hit by a drone strike. Now, here's a shocking analogy and stuff that I've been thinking about. This man was actually on a balcony at 6:30 in the morning in the heart of Kabul, okay, hanging out with his family, not in hiding, because we left the country to the Taliban. Now, these guys were supposed to be our friends, or at least that's what the Biden administration was trying to lead us to believe. No. That's not the case. That's not what was happening, and that's not what went down. Like I said, he got taken out by a drone strike. Hey, is this a good thing? Yes. We like to take out terrorists before they take us out. That's always a plus. Yes, I know my hair is just not doing it today, and I don't freaking care. So, we like to do those things as America. We don't believe in terrorism. It's always a plus when we can take out a number one terrorist that was literally coincided with Osama bin Laden until the U.S. Navy SEALs, I'm very proud of. Thank you, Dad. Took him out. Beautiful SEAL Team 6. Awesome guys. Anyway, could it be that the Biden administration is still on this Build Back Better thing? See, what they're doing now is because the Build Back Better deal was struck down in Congress. So what they're doing is they're literally just trying to pick it apart. They're trying to make it so that they can try to put certain avenues into it, but they're going to pick it apart in little pieces. And they're adding it into little tiny spending packages that, little by little, in the end, it's going to cost you money, and it's going to cost me money. It's going to cost us all money in taxes. Is it a good thing for our economy to be pumping more money into the economy while we're in the middle of a recession? First of all, the Biden administration has recently tried to redefine the definition of recession. Okay, first of all, I just want to let you know, okay, if you go to the Economist Dictionary, this is actually a real thing. You can look it up. The Economist Dictionary states that the definition of a recession is 2/4 of zero or negative GDP percentage income into the United States, okay, or into the economy. That's the definition. What they tried to do recently, and I don't know if you've noticed, the new White House press secretary, she is really bad at her job. I mean, at least with Jen Psaki, basically what a White House press secretary is actually designed to do is deflect. And Jen Psaki at least did it with like some dignity behind her. You know what I mean? Like, she definitely seemed like she knew what she was doing. She knew how to manipulate, the room and things of that nature. This woman has no idea how to do that. And, once again, I hate to say this, but just like Kamala Harris, she was a diversity hire. Okay, you know what I mean? Just like Kamala Harris, the only reason, and this is not something that YouTube can ban me on, okay, Biden actually said this in his own words. When he was choosing a vice president, when he was running for president, he literally stated he's not going to choose anybody but a black woman. I call that a diversity hire. You can call that whatever you want. She is really horrible at her job. But with all this, wrapping around Karine Jean-Pierre, whatever her name is, okay, she was asked about Biden's inflation and them trying to change the definition of the term recession. And her answer was false. She kept trying to say that the definition of 2 losses of GDP in 2 quarters, okay, that was not the technical definition. That is a lie. That is not the truth. And, us as the American public, you would think that, most of us are pretty smart and tech savvy. We just looked that up and realized that she's completely lying out her ass. Now, all that being said, okay, if you can tell me one thing, that's all I'm asking, one, I just want one thing, okay, that the Biden administration has done well in the last over a year. Okay, I mean, Trump's poll numbers literally dropped to 39%, but that was right when COVID hit. Okay, Biden isn't even in COVID anymore. We're not in a pandemic any longer. So if you still believe we're in a pandemic and you're still driving around in your car by yourself with a mask on your face, there's something friggin' wrong with you. Like, you have been mentally and socially scarred from the pandemic. I'm sorry that you've done this, and I wish you Godspeed in whatever type of mental health you choose to use in order to get yourself back on task. That being said, Biden's administration is not in the middle of COVID. Everything that is actually going on in this country that's going bad, they've done. They've literally, the war in Ukraine, which we're going to get into that in the 3rd segment of this episode. The war in Ukraine, the only reason why it ever started, why Russia actually invaded, was because the U.S. was weak on foreign policy when it came to that. Biden actually said in a press conference, well, if it's a minor incursion, we're not going to do anything. Well, all that did was give Putin the green light. That was all they did. What? The U.S. isn't going to do anything? Because he's certainly not really scared of NATO. Okay, so, I mean, all that did was give Putin the, go ahead, take him out. Okay, everything that this administration has done at this point, and he hasn't even made it to the end of year 2. It's gone from bad to worse. If you don't see that by now, then I don't know, you're living under a rock. Maybe you're in a cave somewhere. Maybe you're in Afghanistan right now in a cave somewhere, trying to figure out how to fly one of our helicopters that was left over there by Joe Biden's administration. Either way, I do have to say, I mean, once again, and I say this to you guys, wholeheartedly, if we don't get this man out of office in the next 2 years, this is going to be a tailspin that I don't know if the U.S. is going to be able to come out of it. We're already in a recession. The interest rate's about to be, massively raised by the Fed, okay, which you think your pockets are tight now. Wait, it's going to get worse. I personally can remember the recession of 2008, okay? Just give you a little insight. I was working for Tampa General Hospital in Tampa, Florida. I had a very nice job. I got paid very good money. And then one day, once the second quarter reports came through, okay, stating, once again, negative GDP results for 2 quarters in a row. We were in a recession. I came to the hospital, clocked in, got pulled into my supervisor's office, and told me that I didn't have a job anymore because they pulled all of the funding for the hospital. Now, at this point, I had a 1-year-old son. My ex-wife had just left me with my 1-year-old son, and I had to figure it out from there. I did pretty well. I made it out. But that's not really the point. There's a lot of people out there that are killing themselves to try and make a decent living so that way they can raise their families and move on. This administration is not making it easy. The left just keeps pushing and pushing and pushing. And whatever ground we're willing to give them, they're taking it. That's the reason why, on this topic, I stress to Republicans, don't squish, don't fade into the dark, stick to the cultural issues, because guess what? A Republican coming up to the podium and saying, I'm going to lower taxes, that's not working anymore. Okay? Nobody wants to hear that. Doesn't work. So we need to find better tactics, and my best way is to use the left playbook. That's going to sound kind of messed up. A lot of conservatives right now are probably watching going, oh, Sean, you can't do that. We can't stoop to their level. No, we don't have to stoop to their level, but we can use their playbook and start with the cultural issues and move our way forward from there. And on that mercenary note, I bring us to our next topic. Eric, I'll be right back. All right, everybody, I'm back. On to our next topic. The CDC has now officially released the documentation on the CDC website that monkeypox is now our newest, biggest epidemic in the United States, even though, fortunately, it actually only affects gay men at orgies. Who would have thought? What I did want to touch on this is the left keeps coming out stating that you can't say that. Okay, here's where I bring some of the culture into my politics. Okay, they don't want you to say that, and the reason why is because they feel that it's going to bring stigma to gay people. Okay, first of all, it does not bring any stigma to look at a gay man and go, hey, maybe you should stick out of the orgies for a little while until this monkeypox thing goes away, and then therefore you have no chance of catching it. Okay, that being said, now mind you, YouTube, please do not ban me. That is the CDC up on their website. You can check it out, okay? California is complaining as usual, because they're the most liberal state in the world, basically. California is more liberal than the French, which is shocking to some magnitude. Okay, but now California is complaining that there's not enough vaccine, and they have to issue a state emergency, things of that nature. This is not COVID, people. Okay? There's like 800 cases in the United States. Okay? You're not catching this through the air that you breathe, or when someone coughs in a small room. Okay? This is skin-to-skin, sexually transmitted. Okay? Guess what? If you want to go to a orgy, and I'm not going to say that, only gay men have orgies, okay? There's a lot of straight men that go to orgies, okay? Is that a good thing? Probably not. Probably not. I'm sure in all of our little fantasies as males, we're like, oh, that'd be great, just have my pick of the litter. But is it a good thing? Probably not. You shouldn't do that. I'm trying to turn over a new leaf in my life as a Catholic man, and, I always love to just go, sorry, can't do that. But what I'm concerned about is the idea of they're trying to say that this could be culturally stigmatizing as AIDS was. Okay, which I remember AIDS. I remember being told about AIDS when I was a young kid in grade school all the way up and through middle school or junior high, whichever you want to call it, all the way to high school. Okay, and the AIDS epidemic actually did start mainly with gay men. Okay, now, it's gotten to the point where, you can be a straight man or a straight woman and be HIV positive. Okay, and that's a given. Okay, it's the same thing with herpes or hepatitis C or any of these sexually transmitted diseases. Okay, but what I'm trying to understand is what is more stigmatizing? Okay, looking at a cultural factor in our society and saying, no, please, keep going to your orgies, keep going to your bathhouses, keep doing all of these things that you're doing because, we can't, oppress any type of identity that you're trying to portray. But you're probably going to get monkeypox. What's more stigmatizing? That or looking at, the gay population and going, look, this is primarily like 90%, 95% transmitted by gay men at large sex parties. Okay, so if you are a gay man, I would suggest that you stick to maybe monogamous relationships and stay out of those parties for a while, like a lot, okay, until something like this is eradicated. Now, there is, first of all, the CDC never came up with enough vaccine because they figured to themselves, well, that would be stigmatizing in itself. I think not. I think that what they're doing is actually hurting the gay community. Okay, look, I've told people many times, okay, I'm a conservative man, but at the same time, I don't care if you're gay. Doesn't matter to me. If that's what you choose to do behind closed doors, that's entirely up to you. Okay, but at the same time, I mean, there is logical evidence of what's going on with this type of disorder, this type of disease that's being spread, and it's being spread through your community. Okay, so if you don't want this to be spread through your community, because I have heard it's quite painful, it's quite horrible. Okay, but if you don't want this spread through your community, don't you think maybe you might want to take some of the parameters out of the equation so therefore you can actually express, okay, you know what, we're doing something for our community, so therefore we don't get sick with this. But with the left, it's always blame this, blame that, blame them, blame that guy. It's that guy's fault. It's never our fault. It's never their fault. They never take any individuality for their decision making. And that in itself is one of the reasons why I don't believe that it's stigmatizing to be able to state the statistical facts of a disorder or disease that's happening in their community. Why wouldn't you want, as a gay man, why wouldn't you want to participate in the eradication of something that's hurting your community? That would be like if somebody told me, Sean, you going to parks to play Frisbee is giving you disease. Well, then immediately I would just go, okay, well, I'm not going to the park anymore. Shocking. You think that's what they're going to do? No, not at all. You wonder why? Because it's the individuality thing. Their sexual individuality has to be at the forefront. They can't take a step back and go, you know what? The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. They can't do that. No, that would be, completely ludicrous. I mean, because everything with the left is all about their identity. It's the same thing with pronouns. It's the same thing with the psychological epidemic that we're going through with transgenderism. All this kind of stuff. It all has to do with their identity and how their feelings are being hurt and discouraged. Not for logic. Not for like, whoa, we better put the brakes on this. No, none of that. No, you can't do that. Can't do that, not at all. That would be a horrible thing. And just think how hard that would hit their community. You think monkeypox is doing you any better? I'd say not. Either way, I digress. I'm sorry. I get very angry with stupidity. And I hate to call anybody stupid, but if you feel that your own sexual individuality and your authenticity in that sexual community is more important than your health, then you're the problem. I have no other way to explain it. You are the issue. And once again, I wish you Godspeed in whatever type of mental health that you choose to get for that type of disorder. And with that, on to our next topic. Now for our final topic today, really funny story out of the New York Times. Because we all know that the New York Times is basically a left-wing propaganda outlet, okay? And what they tried to do with this editorial was they tried to explain the war in Ukraine and how U.S. help would reach Ukraine faster. And the way they tried to explain this is they basically stated that if Ukraine was to adopt same-sex marriage, then, the US would definitely go in to help them even more. Okay, let me explain something to you guys. Okay, Ukraine has a parliament. Okay, it's stated in their doctrine, okay, that marriage is only between a man and a woman. Okay, this is an area of the world where it's almost forbidden to be gay. Now, do you think that Zelensky is going to change his national policies on something as critical as this, and that's going to go over well? You think that that's going to happen? Not at all. Okay, but the left has to figure out a way that they can push a social agenda into every aspect of society and culture. Okay, even if that agenda means that, first of all, it's never going to happen. Okay, but even if that agenda is completely ludicrous, it's completely like unimaginable. Okay, for Ukraine to actually take on this doctrine, okay, you're talking about changing the entire social policy of a whole entire country. Okay, it's not going to happen. Okay, but they wish it would happen. And like I said, the New York Times decided that they were just going to explain how this could happen. Okay, and they tried a whole bunch of different left-wing terms and things of that. You know what I mean? Oh, you know, it would smooth over social policies between the U.S. and Ukraine. Okay, first of all, when we're in the middle of a recession, do I believe that we should have gave $40 billion to Ukraine? No, no. Sorry. Look, I understand the Ukrainian people are fighting for their sovereign territory. I get that. Okay. If it was here, I would say that we should do the same. Okay. That being said, do I feel that the U.S. should literally bankrupt itself to try to help out Ukraine? The only reason why we should even attempt to help out Ukraine is because Russia is actually like they're basically our enemy. Okay, this is like Cold World War II. Okay. Also, I did want to mention that as of recent, Nancy Pelosi did land in Taiwan, despite Chinese aggression towards the idea of her landing in Taiwan, because they still believe Taiwan is theirs. Taiwan believes that they are an independent country. So, you know, they amped up their military aggression in the area, stating they were doing drills. Okay, do I believe that China was going to try and shoot down Pelosi's plane? No, not at all. They would not be able to handle us in the slightest. I don't believe that China would be able to have that type of capability in the Pacific there, even though it's right there in their backyard. Now, there are certain things that we really need to worry about in the China-Taiwan thing. Okay, first of all, Taiwan is the major producers of semiconductors and microchips that we use in every single day devices. Our cars, our phones, our watches, I mean, just about every, TVs, all of it. Okay? And China actually produces a lot of our goods that we buy. First of all, don't buy anything off of Wish. It's never the same as what it looks like on the website. I'm saying this for a friend. But that being said, okay, do I believe that this is a good thing that Pelosi decided to go ahead and actually still land in Taiwan? Yes. You want to know why? Because U.S. policy at this point has been weakened. Okay, Biden is a very weak straw character on the world stage. Okay, so what we need to do is send a message to the world where you can threaten us all you want, but at the same time, we're still going to do what we're going to do. Okay, now, here's the difference. Okay, if you're going to be on the world stage and you're going to make a play like this, you better have the stones to back it up. If you don't, it's all for nothing. Okay, now China, as of recently, has amped up their production of not the same state-of-the-art microchips and semiconductors that Taiwan puts out, but a lower standard, but still effective standard of microchips, and they've been building factories and things of that nature. And the reason why is because they're thinking in the back of their mind, because Taiwan has this little policy, which is as of recent, that if China decided to invade Taiwan, that Taiwan would basically burn all those factories to the ground. So therefore, it stops China from getting that type of technology to be able to hurt the West. Okay. Now, this is an interesting play. Do I think that this is a good play? Yeah, in the detrimental aspect of it, sure. Yeah. For the simple fact that if we allowed China to take over Taiwan and they took control of that type of technology, they would literally hold a monopoly on the West, where they could literally just say, we're not giving you any microchips or semiconductors for all of your massive amounts of technology. Our military technology resides on those types of chips. Okay? So, do I think it's a good thing that Pelosi is actually showing that she has some stones, which, I mean, we all kind of wondered between her and Michelle Obama. I don't know. Could be out there. Might not be. We'll see. But, that being said, it's like kind of like one of those things where, like, once again, I say, it's a pissing contest. Okay? Who's going to show the biggest fortitude in order to show the biggest Mac? You understand what I'm saying? I believe that, like I said, Pelosi landing in Taiwan despite the aggression by China, that was a good thing. Once again, the Biden administration has to show some aggression on a diplomatic platform as to say, look, we're not going to be threatened. The United States is not going to be threatened or deterred by anything that you're going to say or do just because you didn't like it. Okay? I think this is a good play. Do I think the Biden administration is on board? No, not at all, because the Pentagon just announced that we do not stand with Taiwan or its interests. So that was probably the dumbest statement that I've heard come out of the Pentagon in a long time. Well, that was the dumbest statement that I heard come out of the Pentagon before they decided to do racial education or transgender pronoun education or a whole bunch of other stuff that's basically, minimizing our military. As of recent, I don't know if you guys are aware, all military branches have put out their percentages of recruits that they've been able to reach, and their quotas are not being met. The reason for that is all of the bullshit that they're putting into the military. Usually the people that join the military are Republican, conservative, right people. Okay, not only that, but they're also traditional people that follow in family traditions. My grandfather was a Marine, my dad was a Marine, I'm going to be a Marine, my son's going to be a Marine, and his son's going to be a Marine. And that's just the way it is. Okay, what they're doing by pushing all this type of propaganda and all of this bullshit, okay, is they're weakening our military. Do you know what happens when it looks like the U.S. has a weak economy, weak military, and weak social policy, and a weak world policy? People pounce. Other countries pounce because they see weakness. We cannot allow this to happen. That's the reason why I implore all Republicans, please stick to the social policies, stick to the cultural policies, fight the fight. Don't start talking about taxes. We all know that shit don't work no more. Okay, we need to move forward from that. And I believe that in 2022, in the midterms, that's the only way this is going to happen. Okay, I'm still hoping for a red wave. The left keeps trying to propagate that it's not going to be a red wave. It is. I still believe that. The only way that's not going to be a red wave is because a lot of times Republicans nominate people that they think are actually the most proper candidate. They don't nominate the people for the primaries. They don't nominate the people that they think can win. Okay, and that's something we need to change as well. With that being said, this is going to be a short one today, guys. I don't have a lot of energy. I've been working real hard as of late, been doing a lot of stuff online, editorials and columns and writing and a whole bunch of stuff that I've been doing. So yeah, I've been kind of tired, but I didn't want to leave you guys down, let you guys down. I did want to come out, show face, show you guys I'm still here and I'm still in the fight. With that, I do want to give a shout out to the Daily Wire. I haven't done that in a while. Mr. Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, Ben Shapiro, Andrew Clavin, Candace Owens. These are all people that I listen to on a regular basis. If you don't have a Daily Wire subscription, it is now not the Daily Wire. It's Daily Wire Plus. We're taking the culture back, okay, from the woke propaganda that's put into Hollywood. Okay, now you can get all of the experts of Jordan Peterson, all of PragerU. Soon there'll be kids content. Okay, right now you can get PragerU Kids. You can actually allow your children to watch wholesome entertainment that you know for a fact does not have the woke. If you're not an insider, if you're not an all-access member, please look them up. Make a subscription. This is how they pay for it. They do not have billions of dollars to make this type of content. They rely on you and me. I believe it's a good cause. I think you should too. And with that, I wish you guys Godspeed, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.